There.
Aha!
Jesus. Well then.
Well, that was embarrassing.
Yeah, shit happens. Okay. And I know what happened. When the audio cable lost functionality, the computer tried to compensate by automatically switching to another one, so just replugged. Anyway, good morning. It's Monday.
It's Me More Monday. We'd already made jokes. We're like, oh, we don't live in a Handmaid's Tale yet. But apparently, you guys heard none of that because...
Steve says, weren't you going to replace that like 6 months? Dude, I ordered a new cable from Amazon, and it just didn't show up. Yeah, I was on air. Ordered the cable, and it just didn't show up. So I ordered another one yesterday. Should be here tomorrow or today, I think.
Should.
So... It's probably for the best that you didn't hear us chatting before the show this time around.
This time around.
But normally. And so, yes, that's on the docket. And anyway. So, Me More Monday. As you know, because a lot of you were watching this Friday evening.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. In fact, before we get to the memes, I want to show you something real quick. It amuses me. Pay no attention to the article. Just look right there over our head. You see the mouse moving around. It's such a good show Friday night that the entire internet is trying to sell me $700 bottles of bourbon. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm tempted.
I'm also tempted.
I ain't saying it's gonna happen, but tempted.
I'm also tempted. I really am. But I feel like you reach a certain point of, like I look at the 18-year scotch, and it's like between $60 and $100, and then I look at the 21-year scotch, and it's between $200 and $300, and I'm like, what? Are those 3 extra years really worth double and triple the price?
They are.
Man, I don't know.
If it's not true of every brand, but like the Macallan. The difference between the 18 and the 21 is astounding.
Like the 18 is pretty good.
Even in bourbon, right? The difference between like a $60 bottle of Double Oak and a $700 bottle of Forwood is staggering. Now, full disclosure, when I had the Forwood, it was still only $1.50 a bottle. That was before COVID created massive scarcity as a result of unbelievable day drinking. But, yeah. So, anywho, today in the Meme War, we're going to start with the absolute mad lad, Count Dankula. Y'all don't pipe down, I'll make women illegal. Guys, if you didn't see, we talked a little bit about it on the show on Friday night. I did not at that time understand the severity of this commentary, and it is absolutely brilliant what happened. So, for those of you who don't know, just a real quick, Cameron, can you give us a quick summary of who Count Dankula is? Vis-a-vis the Nazi pug?
Oh, sure. Well, Marcus Meacham, Count Dankula, is a YouTube personality and really a troll artist and a comedian. He's funny. He does stand-up. He does speaking events, and he's funny. And he's cheeky. He's one of those comedians that tries to make the joke that you shouldn't make. And really, just to push boundaries and buttons, he got his girlfriend's dog to do a thing that appeared to be a Nazi salute. And
he was arrested for it.
Yeah, and people complained, and he was charged with crimes. And then he crowdfunded fighting the crimes, and had literally gone through court after court after court and appeal after appeal after appeal. And last I knew, he had the opportunity to take his case all the way to the European Supreme Court. Yeah, go ahead. Start there. That's good.
You will start here. Excuse me. I am a proud woman with one hell of a uterus. So, yeah, he ended up in jail and in court and paying fines, and the Justice Dankula, Count Dankula, prior to this incident, is an incredibly important character in the global.
I mean, anything prior to June 24th is not applicable, and you're about to run past it.
Right. Is he's an important figure in the global context of
Free speech.
free speech, because he was one of the clearest indices of evidence that outside of the United States of America, free speech does not exist. They all purport to be some flavor to have some flavor of, well, we believe in the principle of the freedom of speech. They're liars, because you can be incarcerated for what is called hate speech. And I say what is called hate speech because hate speech is a lie from the devil. The idea that there is such a thing as hate speech within the context of the law is asinine. So, damn it, I wanted to start with the we were very careful. So let me just
Do.
Well, you talk.
Okay, so UN TV, Twitch always has the best names. UN TV says free speech doesn't exist here either. Cops can arrest you for saying "fuck you," etc. if deemed fighting words.
That is a misconception. So, okay, let me touch on that real quick. Here's how that works. We do have freedom of speech in this country. What you cannot do is use your speech to incite criminal activity. If the words you say are intended to cause someone to cause harm, or to elicit someone to cause harm, right? And that is an important distinction. Because without it, someone can hire a hitman. The hitman goes and commits the murder. And then the person who hired the hitman gets to argue in court that I have absolute free speech, that I used words to engage that contract is protected under the First Amendment. So part of that is to avoid someone being able to just hire killers, to hire people to commit crimes. Now, that said, that principle does get abused. Unfortunately, nothing is ever perfectly black and white under the law. There are exceptions. I mean, even to the law that prohibits killing other people. Killing other people is not illegal. Murder is illegal. And that's an incredibly important distinction. Right? For example, if someone attacks you with a firearm and you shoot first and win, thereby surviving, when someone else initiated the conflict, then what you've done is not murder. However, if you use chemicals to destroy a person who doesn't have the ability to defend themselves and didn't provoke the assault, that's called an abortion. I mean a murder. Well, yes.
Okay. Look at I don't know what you're going for, but we're 12 minutes in. And
yeah, I was. It's got the Dankula thing has gotten. Oh, no, and it just changed. You sons of whores.
Either way, go follow Dankula on Twitter. It has been just absolute gold.
The reason this has been so good, is because it started with Count Dankula replying to Joe Biden. Joe Biden said, put out the official White House statement where they utterly denounced the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and we don't support this, and it's wrong, and it's immoral, and babies aren't people, and all that crap. And Justice Dankula, Count Dankula changed his Twitter handle to Justice Dankula and replaced his image with the with a picture of himself photoshopped over the body of Justice Roberts. Right? He even changed his description to SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the Uterus Squad. Bullshit ender, baby defender, Trump 2024. And he replied to Biden's denouncement by saying, "We were very careful when we made our decision." And what made it hilarious is all these pro-baby murder sycophants didn't understand that Count Dankula is not a Supreme Court justice. It didn't even occur to them that he's not one of the judges involved in making the decision. Because, and let me first remind you that these people vote, they know so little about the Supreme Court. They know so little about civics and the government in which they have a voice that they don't even know who the Supreme Court justices are. Now, I would not be surprised to learn, I suspect it is the case, that most of you cannot name all 9 justices off the top of your head.
You can probably think about it for a second and get it, though.
Well, yeah, you got...
And you could probably figure out real quick that Justice Dankula is not one of them. So...
Right. Like, that name is a little too absurd, even for the lefties like Sotomayor.
Right. Okay. Time.
So let's move on to some meme review, and we want to finish on the scary one, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll skip right over that for a minute, and look here, you son of a bitch. Oh, it's all the way back here. Gotcha. So you want to start with this one?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll have to shrink it down a little bit so you can read it. No, you can't just get rid of Roe v. Wade.
It's just a clump of words.
And wow, that's that really hits it too, because just a clump of words versus just a clump of cells. The Constitution is just a clump of words. You know what's interesting about that clump of words we call the Constitution? It doesn't mention abortion.
Nope.
Not one time.
Nope. And look, let's be clear. Nobody's lost their right to shit. You can still get an abortion in this country. That's one of those arguments of saying, well, women have lost the right to... No, you haven't.
Correct.
You absolutely have not.
You never had a right to abortion.
But let's assume you did.
But let's assume
you haven't
did
lost
for just
that right.
Dear, nobody's going to stop you from exterminating your blacks in Hawaii, New York, and California. We're just saying you can't do it in morally decent states.
And we're just saying you can't do it in morally decent states after about the 6 to 12 week point, depending on the local laws.
Like, most of them, yeah. There are a few. I think Michigan. Now, the Michigan situation is interesting. Michigan had a law on the books. Michigan is not one of the several states that had trigger laws that were passed recently that were waiting for Roe v. Wade to be overturned so that the law would go into effect as a result of Roe v. Wade being overturned. Before Roe v. Wade, it was abortion was outright banned in Michigan. And after Roe v. Wade, rather than repealing that law in Michigan, they enforced the law based on the Roe v. Wade decision. So when Roe v. Wade was overturned on Friday, Michigan became a no state. Like,
isn't Michigan a blue state?
Very.
Isn't that weird? How it's the blue states that are actually guilty of the things that they accuse like people like us of?
Yeah, Michigan is Whitmer state.
Oh, that Michigan.
That Michigan. That's right. Governor Whitmer may have just become the most pro-life governor in America.
Okay, look, I want to mention something real quick. We talked about this before. So I'm just going to give this a couple of sentences. If you'll go ahead and move to the next meme, please.
Absolutely.
UN TV says, what about the girl that gets pregnant by her father or brother, can't go out of state, blah, 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 blah. Look, here's the deal, okay? According to Planned Parenthood's own internal audit, okay, and we're talking about an organization that has got a motivation to show you the starkest numbers possible of the type of thing that you're talking about, okay? According to them, only about 6% of abortions are because of rape, incest, life and health of the mother. They even included certain financial stresses as a reason for abortion. And that's all rolled into that 6%, which means the other 94% of abortions are purely elective. So when you say, but what about that woman that gets raped and just doesn't want to keep her rapist's baby and cannot afford to go to another state? Look, stop it. I am tired of having this argument on the margins. The vast majority of people, even people that are extremely pro-life, are going to say, you know what? Fine. You want to kill the rapist baby? Kill the rapist baby.
Well, it's this simple. When you're arguing the margins, this is the argument you're making. Because on occasion it happens that in a self-defense situation, the law will tolerate you using your firearm and to the extent of deadly force when you're being attacked by a criminal to defend yourself. Therefore, I should be allowed to just walk around and shoot people and kill them all the time. Because there are exceptional cases where it's needed. And for that reason, I should be able to do it electively and recreationally. Now, back up to another argument that UNTV brought up. The Constitution doesn't mention a lot of stuff and still gets allowed. What it does mention, however, is that every human is born with the God-given right to life. Every human is created and endowed by his Creator with the God-given right to life. So that it is the job of the government to protect living things, living humans with unalienable rights, from the incursion on the right of them to live is absolutely explicit in the Constitution. So not only is abortion not mentioned, the opposite is absolutely mentioned, and the government is enjoined to guarantee the protection of that life. So, that said, here's my corporate employer is going to pay my travel expenses to have an abortion because they don't want to pay for your maternity leave.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. Like this is just like the fucking rainbow flag, right?
Right.
They're not doing this because they actually support you, you absolute muppet. They're doing this because it's cheap. It's cheaper for them to buy you a plane ticket to New York than it is for them to let you take 6 weeks off of work. Just a fact. Don't like it? It's true. They don't care about your rainbow flag. They don't care about your Black Lives Matter. And they don't care about your abortion. They're painting their woke lamb's blood on their door and hoping your creeping death of cancellation will pass them by. Period. End of sentence.
Yep.
Just...
That just makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes memes are just funny. And that's good enough.
And, I mean, what else do you need?
Keep going.
Humans aren't parasitical to a host. Babies are parasites, technically. UNTV, I wonder how much tax return you get. I really do. Speaking of parasites. So, one would think that men would be far more upset than they are about the overturn of Roe v. Wade, since today marks the end of hookup culture. Thank God. All that no-string sex is going to evaporate faster than an ice cube in hell. Women will instantly become pickier about their standards, since any instance of sex could end in a baby. Men are going to have to work harder to secure regular sex. Discuss. Good. No, this is perfect.
Wait. You mean I'm going to have to try and be a decent human being for a woman to have sex with me?
Yes.
You're
going to have to try hard.
You mean that's and that's a bad thing. I'm gonna have to like have a job and stability and morals, or a woman will not have sex with me. I still don't understand why that's a bad thing.
Exactly. So over the years, my wife and I have watched the TV shows where, like, How I Met Your Mother, Coupling, little romance comedy type of TV shows. And often, they're talking about the hookup culture and the dating scene and all that crap, and we wonder, wait a minute, these guys are constantly talking about how rent is so expensive, and they live in a nice apartment in New York and drink a dozen beers at the bar every night. But just the whole bizarre hookup culture thing, and we'll watch that stuff, and my wife will look at me and say, "Thank you." Thank you for saving me from having to experience this, right? The club scene, the dating scene, the hookup culture, the prostitution apps on your phone, like swipe left, swipe right until you figure out who you're paying with dinner for a cheap lay. I am glad I dodged the psychopathy of the modern courtship rituals.
Yeah. TikTok, let's keep rolling so we can get to the end.
Indeed. So, where are we here? Oh, yeah. I saw this one a while ago. This one first started circulating right after the leak. I mean, we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled. Justice Alito writes in an initial majority draft circulated inside the court. I guess you guys aren't ready for that yet. But your kids are going to love it. Because you're going to have them.
No, I got it. You win. We're coming up on time for our show. I see that you're continuing to comment, and we'd love to continue. You said also you are clearly more biased and brainwashed than I am, and I don't have a Biden hat, let alone all that BS. Obviously, this behind us is set dressing, and yes, we're biased. We wear it on our sleeves. It's why we have a certain degree of credibility. I have an opinion, and I'm not ashamed of it. And if you can bring an argument less retarded than a baby is a parasite, you might change my mind and therefore change my opinion. But if the best you've got is that a baby is a parasite, it's little more than a tapeworm, sorry, bruh. But sorry, not sorry, bye, Felicia. Like, it is what it is. So, anyhow, we're almost there. We're coming up on time.
Ready?
Yes.
Damn,
Damn it, that was
less
disappointing.
Dramatic than I expected. Literally nobody, progressive women, anytime anything happens. Yeah, we've been seeing more and more of this crap, and guys, the show can't be that good. Craig, what's going on in there? It's Clarence Thomas, Jerry. And we already covered this one. If y'all don't pipe down, I'll make women illegal. The whole Dankula thing was just solid gold. So let's talk about this.
In here with the scary one.
You'll see that I've actively redacted the actual addresses, but because you will not get that from me. And
doxing is attempted murder.
Every time we've discussed this on the show before. Just like swatting, doxing is attempted murder because you cannot intelligently be expected to believe that everyone that will respond to your doxing will have the purest of intentions.
Oh, they just want people to protest outside their homes, Chris.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Sure. Because that's not a threat,
right?
At all.
In no way did the recent doxing of Brett Kavanaugh contribute to the attempted assassination of Brett Kavanaugh by a deranged leftist.
Yeah, fiery but mostly peaceful protests, right?
Exactly.
Because what? And you know what's really, just interesting, okay, is they didn't post the decisions of the others. Like, occasionally, Kagan crosses and votes with the conservatives, okay? Where's her? Now, she didn't for the abortion case,
Right.
obviously. Where's her address? And, since there's a damn fine chance that it's actually one of Ketanji Brown's staffers that leaked the draft decision, where's the staffer's addresses that committed a felony?
Yeah, let's be clear on that, too. We haven't heard anything about an investigation yielding any results on the leak of the draft decision. Guys, there's a list of people that has just over 100 names on it who are the only people who could possibly have done it. Now, that list includes all 9 justices. Fair enough. I would say there's a pretty high degree of probability you can strike at least 8 of them off the list. Maybe only 7.
No, the only one I think
most
would
of
do
them.
it would be Sotomayor, and I even think she would draw the line at leaking this decision. I really do.
And there's only one reason for that to be true. There's only one way that can possibly be true, is that the entire law enforcement industry mechanism supports the commission of that crime. They are pro that crime. It's the same reason there have been no arrests or prosecutions in the May 29th insurrection, right? Because it was a bunch of BLM activists and radical leftists trying to burn down the White House and burning down the church across the street.
Setting it on fire.
Instead of
They didn't burn it down. They set
instead
it
of
on
lawfully
fire.
entering a public building to peacefully protest as is protected by the First Amendment. But what do you know?
Well, what I know is no matter what anybody tells you, this is a threat. I have gone through a period of self-doxing because I didn't want it to be something that could ever be used against me ever. But that was my choice, okay? We're talking about Supreme Court justices, arguably the 9 most powerful people, potentially even in the world, potentially even more power than the President of the United States. And we're going to give you their home addresses. And don't give me this bullshit about how, well, it's actually a matter of public record. You could research it and figure out where they live on your own.
Yes, you could.
You're right. You absolutely could. 100%. But if you're going to, because the caption that I keep seeing this meme shared with is, oh, it's just a picture of a cute kitten. So it's very obviously being shared for subversive purposes. It is a threat. Absolutely 100% of the time. And you know what? What?
It's okay.
Okay. And here's the deal. Don't forget this. It's not like Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't see this coming from a mile off, that Congress needed to codify Roe because eventually a challenge would come up and a future court would realize that Roe was bad law and partially or fully overturn it. And what do you know? Roe got challenged and it got overturned because it was bad law. These 6 justices did their job. And they're being threatened for it.
Steve says there was a reply under one of those doxing posts that gave specific plumbing-oriented party favor instructions. Well phrased, Steve. And
yeah, I'm sure it was just a picture of a pipe. Just like this is just a picture of a kitten.
And it probably wasn't even one of Biden's free crack pipes. JT asks, would Roe v. Wade decision have any effect on the constitutionality of Obamacare?
That'd be nice.
That's a good question.
But probably not.
I don't have a solid answer for you on that yet.
Whatever. Robert's already fucked us on that one.
Yeah.
Obamacare in some form or fashion is probably going to be with us. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Thanks, John Roberts.
Well,
at least you got this one right. Kicking and screaming, no less.
Right. It's a little after 8. So we're going to have to go ahead and wrap this one up. Y'all, we will be back tomorrow. And at JDF, we missed you. Thanks for popping in. No, Mom, Roberts voted Roberts voted yes. He was a concurring opinion. He was a squishy concurring opinion on Roe v. Wade, but Roberts did in fact vote with the majority on overturning this case. So it may be the only thing he's ever done right in his life, and he managed to do it squishy. But we love you guys. Thanks for watching. We will be back and see you tomorrow.